my name is Maya and welcome to the episode 23 of the Leela Tinks knitting podcast, where I share all my thoughts, process and other random stuff about all things fiber related, but mostly knitting. So today is the 20th of May 2023 and I'm coming to you from the French speaking part of Switzerland, where I live with my gecko. You can find me on Instagram as milahis.tinks, and you can find links of everything I talk about down in the description box, as well as my measurements if you are interested. So, today we have a jam-packed episode. I have been knitting a lot apparently. I mean, yes I have, because I hurt my back and I cannot climb anymore, so I've been knitting. So what I have today is two finished objects, this one and this one, and I have three new cast-ons. Two of them are test knits, one for Caidree and the other one for Ozetta. So it's gonna be interesting. Let's get into it right away, I guess. The first finished object is the one I am wearing, which is the mini mock neck tank by Jessie, and I knit it using classic sock base by Olivia and Oliver Fibers, which is a hand dyer based in the Netherlands, and I have bought this colorway, which is the Lofoten Island, from the 2021 advent calendar pre-order that she did after the advent calendar. And I had originally knit this yarn in another garment, but I was short on yarn. It was too small, too short, and it had lace there. I'm gonna put a picture. It had lace there, and I don't wear bras, so you could just see everything. And it was just sleeping in my closet for 2 years. I never wore it, so I decided to just forget completely and knit this one. And I'm so happy I did, because this one is perfect. I'm so happy. So I knit this on 3.5mm needles, which is the suggested needles, and I knit size 2. I could have gone up to size 3 because I think I'm off gauge. I didn't gauge swatch, and it's a little bit, I mean, I think it's too small here. It's supposed to go a little bit further away, like something like that, I don't know, and it's just coming like this. It's okay, I don't have bra straps anyway, and even if I had, I don't care, but yeah, I think I could have gone up a size. And it's a shame because I actually have some yarn left, because this yarn is 420 meters per 100 grams, so I had a little bit more meterage. But it's probably also part of the fact, part of the reason why my gauge is too small, because this yarn is a little bit thinner. I should have just gauge swatched, but I couldn't be bothered. And it's working out, so why not? I did have to do some modifications. I did one I always do, which is adding length to the back. And it's funny because the pattern tells you not to do that, but I did it anyway, and I'm glad I did, because the fit is very nice like this. Yeah, it's just coming to the right place, exactly. And imagine if I was taking off some length. I added 3 centimeters, and if I took off some length, it would start to tug on here and then be too low. So yeah, I'm glad I did that. And it makes me think I have yet to see a pattern with a seam on the shoulders that take into consideration that the back is longer than the front. I don't know why, it's not a thing. In sewing patterns it is usually, so I don't know why it's not transferring to knitting, but yeah, that's how it is. The other modification I did is that I added some waist shaping. So it's supposed to be knit straight, and I did a lot of decreases, you can tell here. There is a ribbing panel, and what's happening is that you have ribbing on the edges here to avoid having to pick up anything and do a finishing, which is really nice actually. And the ribbing continues here, and you're supposed to cast on the stitches at the underarm and knit ribbing for like 5 rows or something, and then stop. And I was like, no. It has always bothered me in the finished object pictures. I could see there was like a rectangle of ribbing, then it stopped suddenly, and I just didn't like that. And since I knew I was going to do decreases here, I figured I could just decrease the ribbing out until it disappears, and I think it looks super nice, like this. And I did decreases until a little bit after that. And actually there's a long story for those decreases, because at first I did them until where my waist stops getting smaller, so about here. I finished the garment. I mean, it's going a little bit further down until my belly button, basically. So, like here. And I did some increases there because my waist goes out. And then I did the ribbing. And then I did the Italian bind off. I almost finished it, but I figured I might as well try it on before I finish it completely. And it was so hard to put them on my shoulders because they are broad and massive, especially on the back, so I was like struggling to put it on. And I managed, and the fit was fine, but I could use a little bit more room, so I was like, if I could put it on easily, I wouldn't have changed anything. But since I was struggling to put it on and off, I was like, I can modify the body to have a little bit more room. It's a little bit too tight anyway, so let's just do it. So I had to undo the Italian bind off, the ribbing, and I ripped out all of this until this part. And then I knit straight for this whole section. I did again some increases there, and then I did the ribbing. And now it's perfect. It's easy to put on, put off, take off, and it's still completely fine in the fit. So I'm glad I did that. But yeah, it was a lot of knitting. And I did do one trick because since I knew I was gonna have trouble with the tightness when putting it on and off, I knew the key point is usually the ribbing, because I didn't want the ribbing to be loose, so I didn't want to knit it on the body needle. This one is also knit on smaller needles, I think it's 2.75 millimeters. But if I went down a little size for the ribbing, for sure it would have been too small and I wouldn't have been able to pat it on. So what I did is I did rapid increases on the row before the ribbing. Just when I switched to the smaller needles, I think I did one increase every 6 stitches. So that's a lot, but it's laying perfectly. I mean, there is no bagging. The ease is the same as the rest of the body, and it's just perfect. So I could go down a needle size for the ribbing and get a clean, finished look while keeping the same ease. So that's a trick for you, if you ever need that. And there is one thing that was completely predictable, but at the same time very unexpected. It's that the yarn is a little bit itchy, and I'm like, what? It's a superwash 75% merino, 25% nylon, so it's supposed to be like the smoothest yarn ever, but I find it itchy a little bit, especially on the edgings here and on the waist. Especially, I don't know why, but the ribbing is a little bit... I can feel it. And this is so annoying because I was sure this yarn would be perfect for a fitted garment like this one, but actually, yeah, no. Funnily enough, the non-superwash 100% merino blends, for example from Woolberry, are less scratchy than this, even though this is superwash. So, if you didn't know, sometimes non-superwash yarns are softer than superwash. Just so you know, at least for me. Oh, and there was one thing also I noticed before I started the pattern, is that it's very difficult to find pictures from the back, in general, and also for this one. Because, as I mentioned, I kind of always add length to the back, but before doing that, I will still go and check the pattern pictures online and see if I can see the usual fit issue I want to avoid for myself on others. But if there are no pictures from the back, I cannot assess that, and I just find it annoying. And I realized when I started taking pictures for my Instagram account, I almost always, like 9 out of 10 times, also include a picture from the back. And I had no idea why I was doing that. I was just doing it because, I don't know, it was important, but I hadn't really conceptualized why it was important. And now I understand. It's because most of my fit issues come from the back, and I just want to see that on others too, but I usually can't. So this is me telling you, if you ever share pattern finished object pictures online, please include pictures from the back, because it's very, very helpful. That's it. In any case, I really, really like this garment. I'm super happy about it. I'm so glad I ripped almost the whole body out to reknit it, because now it's really fitting perfectly and easy to put on and off and everything. So yeah, I'm super happy. And I'm probably going to knit more, but I don't know in what yarn yet. I will need to find something. And I don't want to use the non-superwash yarns because it will be just too warm. It's already a little bit... yeah, for summer weather here in Switzerland it's a little bit too hot. So yeah, I'm not sure. But there's that for this pattern. Super lovely, super easy to follow, super clear, super everything. Liked it. Perfect. Except for the back panel that is too short. So the next finished object I have is this beast that I finally finished. I think it took me 25 days, a little bit less than a month. So this is my absolutely amazing teddy zip by Joan, I still don't know, Ho, and it's amazing. It's just the coolest thing ever. It has pockets, of course, and I'm so happy. And it is now the beginning of summer weather, and I'm not going to wear this, but it's fine. Anyway, so yeah, I finally finished it. It's blocked and everything. It has the zipper. I have sewed all the pieces, the lining, the pockets, the thing, the trimmings, the edges, everything. It was a pain. I hated it, but it's so worth it. And yeah, I'm glad I pushed through because it's really super cool. I did do a lot of modifications, so I'm just gonna do a list. First, this is what the pattern is supposed to look like. So as the name suggests, it's a teddy like knit with boucle yarn. I didn't do that. I used, no, before the modifications, I used 2 different types of yarn. I used unspun yarns held either 4 strands together for the body here, or 2 strands with 1 strand of fil colonna Peruvian Highland wool. So the green colorway is, I don't know, it's written there. I don't know how to pronounce it. The blue is Omge and the red is Sade. And the fil colonna colors are, the blue is Midnight, this one is Merlot, and the grey is Charcoal. And I'm so happy. I'm just obsessed. I knit size 3 and it grew a little bit with blocking. I mean a little bit more than expected, so the shoulders are not exactly on my shoulders anymore. Before blocking it was really sitting perfectly like this. Now it's a little bit drop shoulder, but it's fine, it's okay, I like it. And I'm gonna wear super big sweaters underneath anyway, so it's good that I have a little bit more room. I mean a lot of room, actually. And the sleeves are a little bit too long. But again, if I have something underneath, I would like to have more breathing room anyway, so it's fine. Now, for the modifications. No, first, the amount of yarn I used is, again, at the same time unexpected and at the same time kind of very predictable. Because I used a lot, but not a lot of what I thought. So for the green I used, I don't know, I think a little less than 300 grams, but I held it quadruple, so yeah, that's a lot. For those 2, I used I calculated less than 70 grams for the Nutinen, the unspun yarn, and I find it's a little bit small amount, but maybe, I don't know. So about 70 grams of the unspun, I'll double. And for the fil collana, I used, for the sleeves and those little details that I added, they are not in the pattern, I used, I think, 90 grams of the blue and the red. And for the grey, guys, the grey, I used almost 300 grams just for this. I mean, I used it here, on the hem, on the cuffs, for the pocket lining, here and here, for the zipper lining, and for the collar. So it is a lot, but 300 grams. It's almost as much as the body. I mean, it's the same amount actually. I used the same amount for the body and for the edgings and finishings. I find it surprising, but at the same time, why not? The majority of the time, it's held double. The fil collana is held double. The only place where I had it single is here. So it's kind of non-existent. Yeah, so there's that for the yarn usage. Now, the modifications. I modified the order of construction, but it doesn't change anything to the finished object, so I'm not going to mention that. I modified the shoulder shaping. I added a little bit more and I used short rows instead of the technique that's in the pattern. And I added also back neck shaping because it was not included. I added more depth to the sleeve caps. It's supposed to be like this and I did them twice as long. I completely changed the sleeve shaping. It's supposed to be like straight until there and then rapid decreases, and I just did decreases along the whole sleeve. I changed all of the edgings because they are supposed to be knit with a single strand of the worsted weight yarn, and I used it double everywhere. And the collar is supposed to be knit with the same yarn as the body, and I used the contrasting yarn. And that's it. Oh no, I also changed for the zipper lining. There is a garter edge here, and you're supposed to have it here also. I didn't do that. And other small stuff, who cares? I did a lot of small modifications. But the result is amazing, and it's all thanks to the pattern. I'm not gonna take this out from the work of the designer. This pattern is amazing and I'm super happy about the result. The only thing I would say that I regret not modifying, but I couldn't have known before, is that it's very tight on my hips. Even though this is size 3 and I have like a lot of ease. And the thing is, I didn't realize there is body shaping here. There are decreases, and I mean it's increases actually because it's knit bottom up, but I shouldn't have done that because now it's too small here. I get why they are here, it's to have the cinching effect, but it was already happening with the ribbing, so I don't think the decreases or increases were necessary, and now it's just too tight here, so I need to put it a little bit to the top, but now it's doing this, so yeah. It's just a little bit too small here, but it's knit bottom up and I just couldn't have known before. So yeah, for maybe next time, probably not. I will know. And yeah, I think it's just so cool. I'm just so happy about my color choice. Oh yeah, I have the swatch. This was the initial plan, and I kind of stuck to it. I mean, I changed the color placement, but yeah. I knit this one like last year. It took so long for this project to come to realization, but now it's done. I'm so happy. And it's summer! Yay! Anyway, we did go to the forest yesterday with my friend, who is actually, if you remember for last episode, I showed the emotional support chicken that I knit for my godson. And the mother of my godson is my best friend, which I went to the forest with to take finished pictures of my garments with her. And I took the chicken to gift it to her and her son. and we took pictures with the chicken in the forest, and they're just funny. I will show them here, and yeah, I just thought I would share because it was funny. Yeah, there was actually a woman in the forest next to us, and she must have wondered what we were doing. There was no really method to our madness, we were just taking pictures with whatever, and yeah. Anyway, it was a funny moment, so just sharing that with you. And that's it for this one. I think... Oh, when I blocked it, I knew that the Nutiden would probably bleed because I have knit with all of these colorways before, and all of them bleed like crazy. Like when I put my hand in the water, I couldn't see my hand even if it was just 3 centimeters below the surface. So I knew it would be pretty complicated to block. But what I did is I followed the Caroline's, which is the person behind Nutiden, advice, and she said to use vinegar in the blocking water. And I did that, and I had 0 bleeding. 0 at all, nothing. Even though I had so much of the green one and I thought this one would be the worst. Nothing, no bleeding. So vinegar is the magic answer to all your bleeding issues. At least with natural fibers. So yeah, that's another trick for you if you need it. Next up, we are entering the realm of the works in progress. And the first one is the test knit I am doing for Caidree, which is the Leela top. And I have joined it around. I'm almost done actually. I just have to knit it around for a while. And here it is! It's not looking like anything, does it? And I'm losing stitches. Yeah, so it's I don't have a picture, I'm gonna show it here. It's very similar to the very popular Soho top. The difference is that it has a lot more stockinette, and am I showing the back? Yeah, this is the back. So usually there is no difference between the front and the back, but I do because I added one more pattern repeat to the back. And there is actually some patterning happening. There are panels of stockinette divided by lines of garter, and I really like the effect it gives. I'm probably going to try it on because I'm losing all my stitches because the yarn I'm using is very slippery. So while I transfer my stitches to a cable, come here, okay, I'm gonna talk about the yarn. So at first I shared in the latest episode a swatch, which is actually this one, which is obviously not the same as this one. And what happened is that this yarn is Estiva by Lani Vendole, which is leftover I had from another project, and I really wanted to use it for this one, but it's almost a lace weight, this one. And I did the first swatch on the recommended needles, but it was too small, so I sized down to 3.25 millimeters, and it was kind of okay, but I knew it was okay because it was a gauge swatch, and when I am knitting the real deal, sometimes my gauge goes up, sometimes it goes down, but I could tell with this one it was going to tighten up. And the size 2 that I'm test knitting is already giving me 0 ease, so if my gauge tightened even the slightest, I would get negative ease, which would not be correct. So I had to convince myself to change plans, and I had this yarn in my stash. This one is Pernelle by Natisea, and this is 100% hemp yarn, and it's very scrunchy. Like, I mean, you probably cannot tell, but yeah. When it was in the skein form, it was like behaving like raffia. Like this yarn you used to do like bucket hats or bags, but really raffia. It was super scrunchy, super rough, and when I bought the yarn, it was at the Swiss Yarn Festival last month, and the person at the stand, which is Pauline, which is also from the same town as me, she explained to me I could put the yarn in a bowl of warm water and just let it sit for a while and then basically block the yarn. And then when it comes out it would be a lot more soft, a lot softer. So I did that and it really did change a lot. It's still kind of rough, but at least it's not like cutting my finger with the yarn because I'm a tight knitter. So yeah, now this is what it looks like, and the drape is going to be absolutely beautiful and I just can't wait. So I'm gonna try it on for you. I don't want to lose any stitches. So this is where we're at. It's the first time I'm trying it on since I added the straps, so we're gonna check if it fits. Underarm is fine. It's going to block out a lot, probably like this, so I'm not worried about this. And the front is fine, I mean I have ease here. And the back, I'm so glad I added one more pattern repeat because otherwise it would be like down here. And the underarm will come much higher. It would be like this, and it would just be too small. So I'm glad I did that again, and I think it's fitting fine. I mean, obviously it's a little bit too tight because I have something underneath, but it's 100% hemp as I mentioned, so it's going to loosen with blocking. So I think it will be absolutely perfect. I'm so happy. I'm so excited. So yeah, now I just have to knit in the round, and I'm glad I changed plans for the test knit because I really wouldn't have wanted to knit something too small. So yeah, and this one, the gauge is a little bit too big, but as I mentioned I have 0 ease with size 2 and the suggested ease is 0 to 5 centimeters, which means if my gauge is too big, I will still be within the 5 centimeters of positive ease, so it's fine, it's okay. Everything is under control, so I think the straps are the correct length. Super happy. Oh, it's looking good, I'm so happy. So my plan is to, of course, finish this one, and I think I will probably cast on another sample using the Estiva, which is a wool and linen blend, but I will knit a bigger size. Probably I will use, so the bottom, this part is knit on 3.5 millimeters. No, yes. Wait, yes, 3.5 millimeters, and it's too small. And this one is knit on 3.75, and the gauge is kind of correct, but probably too small. And I just prefer the fabric there. So I think I will use the 3.5 millimeters, have a smaller gauge, and knit size 4 instead of size 2. Because I really like it, actually. And I think it will solve my problem with summer garments. Since I don't wear bras, I usually flash people whenever I lean forward and I have something with a cleavage of any kind. So this one is perfect because, I mean, nothing can happen anywhere, whatever I do, so it's super cool, but it's a little bit warm because it's too close to my skin. And this one, same, solves all my flashing issues, but it's a little bit further from my skin, so super nice. And actually I knew it going in because I have knit 2 Soho tops and I love them a lot, but both of them, the first one is too small and the second one is knit using Pearl Soho linen quill, which is a little bit itchy, so I don't wear it either, but I really love them and I like how they look on me, so this is like perfect. It's fingering weight, it's not garter, so it's less warm, squishy, and it doesn't have a cleavage, so it's the perfect design for me. So yes, I'm probably going to knit another one, maybe, probably, I don't know, it depends. But yeah, that's it for this one. Oh, there is one thing, is that maybe you can tell the straps, they are very fine I-cords, and a lot of testers did wider straps, like probably this wide. You can see this is where the pattern starts, and I think they did straps that are this wide, and it looks so good, like really. So if you are wondering if this is like bra friendly, it's not like this, but you can easily add more stitches to the straps, and then the look is chef's kiss. I mean, I was super impressed, and it then becomes bra friendly. So if you are wondering if you can knit this for you, you can do this simple modification and then make it bra friendly. And the last thing, we had kind of a debate on the test knit chat group, because when you are knitting the panels flat, you are doing I-cord finishing on each side, and on one side the I-cord is looking great. This is the inside I'm showing, so it's rolling perfectly, and on the other side you have this, and it's definitely looser and a little bit, I mean mine is fine, but for others it was looking really sloppy and weird. Maybe you can show them next to each other, so you can definitely tell. This is the first one I showed, this is the second one, so yeah, this one is looser. And people couldn't really understand what was going on, and I was at a wedding when the discussion happened, so I couldn't really answer. But in the evening when I came home, I saw all the messages of people like, I don't understand what's going on, what's this? And I was like, I know, I know what it is. And this is actually happening because you are inserting the needle to form a knit stitch, and you are making the stitch bigger. So you are adding slack. And when you finish the stitch, you go to the next stitch, insert your needle, and you are transferring the slack to the next stitch. And you are doing this for the whole row, and when you get to the end of the row, you are transferring all the slack into the last stitch, but then it stays there, because there is no next stitch to put that into, so it just stays here. And this is what's happening on this side. It's the extra slack from all the knit stitches or purl stitches you have formed on the row. So you cannot tighten it because it's not attached to the working yarn, which is why it's a little bit weird, because you are like yanking on the yarn, the slack is not going out, so it can be a little bit weird if you don't know what's happening. And it's especially showing in I-cords because you are slipping stitches, so yeah, it's just doing it a little bit more. So I did send a video on the group chat, which I'm going to link below also, by Nimble Needles, which is explaining exactly what's happening, how to counteract it, and yeah, what you can do about it. So I thought it would be interesting if you're ever knitting this or something else, or notice this happening in your knitting. Yeah, just because I could mention that and share the video, because I thought it was very helpful. I have one remark on the pattern. I feel like it's really suitable for beginners, because first it's very simple, and I feel like it's written in a way that's for beginners. Because everything is like written out, like it's written knit 5 stitches instead of K5. And all the instructions are like this. I don't think I have, yes I do, but I can show you. So the pattern is actually very long. I mean, not very long, it's like 6 pages. But it could be 2 pages, but it's 6 because everything is written out, and there is never a case of like repeating instructions that are between the little stars, and then it says repeat instructions between the stars once or twice. It's always just written out, so you just have to read everything. But I find it very difficult to follow, because then you have a big block of text that's telling you to do the same thing twice. But in my head, if something is written out, it's because it's not the same, so I'm like hunting for the difference, trying to understand what I should be doing differently, but there is nothing because it's the same, but it's just that I'm not sure, so I have to read everything. I don't like this writing style, but I think for beginners it's a lot easier to follow. So I guess if you are kind of unsure about your skills, this is a really good one. And if you are very sure about your skills, it's easier for you to ignore the repeating instructions than for a beginner to invent the instructions, if you see what I mean. So I think it's better in this direction, but I still don't like it. But yeah, that's That's the only thing I would say about the pattern. I have only knit one other pattern by Caidree, which is the Soho top, which is also super simple, and I don't know if it's only this one or if it's all her patterns, but I thought I could mention that. Yeah, so that's it for this one. And the next work in progress is another test. It's the... where is... Did I lose it? Oh no. I don't know where it is. I just have the... oh, it's here. It's okay. It's the Lace Stripes by Ozetta, which I am test knitting for her again, and I have knit my swatches, which are actually the saddles. Oh, they are so cool! Look at this! I love the color combo. Look at the drape. I'm just so excited. This one is blocked, and this one is steam blocked. And you can tell they behave a little bit differently. This one is super shiny. But yeah. So I knit the first swatch on the recommended needle, but my gauge was a little bit too big, so I went down for the second swatch, and the gauge was perfect. So I frogged the first swatch, and I did a funny trick. I used those cardboard tubes that I have left from... it's a cotton yarn that comes in these tube forms. And I have kept them, but I was like, why am I keeping them? I'm sure I'm never going to use them, but at the same time, maybe I will. So I wasn't sure why I was keeping them, but I could feel maybe I could find a use. And I did find it, because when I frogged the yarn from this, the yarn, by the way, is 302 by Isea. It's this one. This is the colorway Granite, and this is green tea. This is like a purpley grey, and this is a green, and they are just so good together. Yeah, so it's a blend of linen, cotton and lyocell, exactly, which means that once it's blocked and frogged, it's extra noodly. All the yarns are noodly when you frog them after having blocked them, but natural fibers, plant fibers, are even worse. So I didn't want it to knit with the noodle yarn, but I didn't have enough to do like a whole skein and block the skein. I mean, I just had 2 grams of each. So what I did is I wound the yarn. Is this called a yarn if it's only plain fibers? I wound the thread over this bobbin very carefully so that all the threads would be next to each other until the end. And then I steam blocked that, and it was perfect. The yarn, the thread, the fiber is completely straight. This is what I have left with the green, and look, it's completely straight. I'm very proud of my trick. This is a very trick heavy episode, but yeah, if you ever happen to have, I don't know, toilet paper rolls or anything, and you want to block a small quantity of yarn, just wind it on top of that and steam block that. Very helpful. So yeah, now I have my 2 swatches, my 2 saddles, and I just have to continue with the project. Now that I'm super sure about my gauge and my colors. I'm so excited. I don't think the last time I was so excited about the project, it was the Teddy Zip. I just love the colors so much. Anyway, so yeah, this is going to be the perfect work in progress in the round, kind of mindless, but there are stripes, so not completely, because I'm going on holiday next Friday for 2 weeks, and it's going to be a climbing van life holiday. So we are gonna climb, but we are also gonna get rest days, and during the rest days it's super nice to knit, of course, so but I don't want to have something too complicated, so this is going to be absolutely perfect. It's a small gauge, it's a long project, perfect. So yeah, I'm very excited about this one, and I think that's it. The last work in progress is in the same vein as this one, which means it's a simple, easy knit, but it still has something interesting going on, and it's going to be perfect for the holidays. And it's actually a self-drafted pattern, and maybe I can show you the first sample of it before I show you the work in progress. So, if you've been here for any amount of time, you have probably heard about this skirt that I have self-drafted, and that I talk about it all the time because it's beautiful. And here it is. So it's amazing. It's a linen skirt. I knit this one using an Antigone by Derirum Natura, which is 100% linen yarn. This is the colorway Héron, and it's just a skirt. It's kind of a skater skirt because it has a very wide. How do you call that? Not A-line, but it's almost a semicircle. So it really flows very beautifully when you wear it, and the drape is otherworldly. I just like it so much. And yeah, I have always been wanting to knit a second sample of this one, but I had trouble finding a yarn because this waistband is, I mean, as this skirt is, it's close to your body, and I cannot use a yarn that is itchy in any form, because if something is tight and I sweat, it's going to be impossible to wear. So I really needed to find something very soft that I was absolutely sure I could wear tight around my skin, and I already have one in linen, so I didn't want to have another one in this fiber. So I needed to find something else. So I bought the yarn Candide by Derirum Natura. It's the same brand actually. And I have used it in two other garments. So one of them is positive ease and the other one is negative ease, and I know it's not itchy at all. So it's perfect for this garment. So this is the yarn. It's cotton, merino and cotton blend. Yeah, 70% wool, 28% cotton, and 2% other recycled fibers. And this is the colorway Grand Bleu. Can you tell I love blue? And I'm planning to knit a skirt in this one. But this is this is what I have cast on until now. It's not looking for like a skirt yet, but it will, trust me. The thing is, I have knit this skirt maybe 2 years ago, but I have shared it for the first time last year on Instagram. And since then, I have received so many messages, so many DMs, so many comments of people, even in real life, knitters in real life or non-knitters in real life, telling me they love the skirt so much, it's beautiful, is there a pattern? Are you going to make one? I really want to knit that one. And I was like, I'm not a designer. I mean, I design a lot of stuff for myself, but I'm not publishing anything. So I wasn't really planning to do it, but I have received so many messages and so many requests that finally I decided to make up my mind, because since I'm going to knit another one anyway, I mean two, because I have yarn for another one, or two, I figured why not write a pattern. And my idea is to write it up in a way where you don't have to knit a gauge swatch, or you can, but only for the fabric. You don't need to count the stitches on your gauge swatch. You don't need to count stitches anytime in the project. You don't need to even know your gauge. You don't need to do anything of that. You're just following a logic and, I mean, a recipe, kind of, and the skirt forms itself on its own, and you don't have to count or shape anything. You just have to pick what you're going to do, because with different increase rates you can do different shapes. So this one is almost a circle, but not completely. And the one I'm going to do is going to be a full circle, and I will also include instructions to do more like a, not straight, but less, how I don't know the word in English. In French it's évasé, but in English I don't know. I'm probably going to put it up here if I can find the translation, if it even exists. Just less wide than this one. So yeah, different kind of shapes, and for neither of them you will have to count your stitches or your gauge. You just have to need to swatch to get a fabric you like, and then go on. So if it works, it would be pretty cool. It would be like a muscle bra, except you don't even need to count. So yeah, this is the beginning. This is the beginning with the waistband, and I just wanted to cast on because I think I have never heard of a way to do this like this, because this is double knitting, and however the cast on is a hole. Because usually when you cast on double knitting you get a closed edge and then the double knitting, but I needed a hole so that I could put the elastic through for the waistband. So I found a way to do it like this, but I wasn't sure it was going to work, but it did. So yeah, little trick for the beginning. Hi, editing Maya here. Forgot to mention two things about a V-skirt. First one, you probably saw that the waistband between the first sample and the new one I just cast on is different. That's normal. It's because the second waistband that I'm showing with the double knitting is something you knit in this direction, which means you can simply knit until it fits, which is why you won't need to calculate any stitches, and I needed to do that with the ribbing. I needed to cast on the correct amount of stitches. And to avoid having to count, you just knit until you have finished the circumference of your waist. Secondly, the second thing I forgot is that this sample is gonna have pockets. Yes, you heard it right, pockets. And you still don't have to count. So yeah, I hope it works out. And the good news is you need the pocket before you get to the super big circumference at the end of the skirt, so it's a lot of knitting flat, but still not that much. The beginning of the skirt went really fast, so that's it. I will let you go back to the video. Yeah, I just got started. Now I'm probably not going to touch it before the holidays, but I'm gonna have something super easy, super transportable to knit on during the holidays, and maybe it will be done when I get home. Maybe not. We will see. Yeah, so that's the plan for this one. So I think when I finish this sample, I'm going to write up the pattern, find a tech editor. I don't have one. But it's going to be a pretty simple pattern, so it shouldn't be too tricky. And probably do a test call in June, I guess. It's going to be on Instagram, so you can follow me on Instagram if you're interested in testing this. I will of course give a super long testing period because this is a lot of knitting. The first one, I mean, it's almost as much knitting as a sweater. This is like a 22 or 23 stitch gauge, and I did something funny the other day. If I put it on like this, it looks like a round yoke sweater. So yeah, treat this as a... Actually it looks cool, no? I don't know. Treat this as a almost fingering weight knitting. It depends. It depends on your gauge. If you are planning to use a bigger yarn, it's going to be super fast. And if you are planning to use a lace weight, like my third sample is, it's going to take you ages. But it just depends. Also, if you're doing the one that has a circle shape, it's going to be a lot more knitting than if you do the one that is less wide. So it will just depend on you. But I will still give a super long testing period. Probably June. What's after June? August, September, probably until October, 3 months, something like that. So yeah, stay tuned for that. I actually like it. Yeah, anyway. So yeah, that's it. Gonna be my first design, and I hope people will like it. I hope at least the people that have messaged me will like it, which will be already more than enough. So that's it for the works in progress for today. We are already quite a lot of time in. I was wondering, do you prefer shorter episodes, like 30 minutes-ish, mid-length episodes, like between 40, 50, less than an hour long? Or do you prefer super long episodes, like more than an hour? I think it really depends on the people. And for me, it's funny because it depends on the person that I'm watching the video from. I think, for example, like Laura Penrose or people like that, I love when the episodes are 1 hour 20 minutes. But for some others, probably people from which I'm used to seeing shorter episodes, like Vine or Crazy Sock Lady or people like that, when it's over 30 minutes, I'm like, what is she gonna tell for this long? I find it funny, but anyway, just wanted to know your opinion on that, because I am always aiming for 50 minutes or less. Doesn't happen very often, but it's what I'm aiming for. Battery change. I was saying, tell me your opinion on the length of the episodes and what you prefer. I'm not saying I'm going to change anything if there is an overwhelming response for like 1 hour 20 or 30 minutes. I'm just curious. Yeah, so that's it for today. I have actually one last thing I knit, but I cannot show you because it's a very small thing and it's really funny, like it's a joke. And I actually submitted a joke to a publisher for a publication, and I have no idea if it's actually gonna make it or not, but I found it really funny and I thought, why not? We're gonna see, but yeah, the thing is I cannot show you, which is a shame because it's funny, but yeah, there's that. For life, last week, no, yeah, 2 weeks ago, last week, I don't know, I was super excited because I was leaving for a climbing trip with my boyfriend. We are going to take the van and go on an adventure for the weekend. So we went to get the van and then we did 20 meters and there was an issue with the van. There was basically a buzzing sound which is usually there to notify of an issue with the motor. So pretty, I mean, you cannot ignore that. However, we knew that it wasn't an issue with the motor, it was actually an issue with the buzzing sound in itself. There was a connection or something that was not working, which was making the buzzing sound happen, even though there was no problem in the motor. We were 99% sure of that, but there was 1% chance it was actually an issue with the motor, and we just couldn't take the risk. So we had to cancel the vacation, which was sad, but that's life. Now the issue is fixed, so when we leave for the holiday next Friday, everything is going to be fine. It was actually really an issue with the connecting cable and not with the motor in itself, which is good news. But yeah, so I didn't go on the climbing trip. However, we still did climb. We went in a local crag in the mountain very near where my boyfriend lives, but it's a mountain and it's Switzerland and it's not spring or summer yet up here, so there was still quite a lot of snow. And it was funny because we were apparently the first person to go up there because there were no tracks in the snow and we just had to do our own tracks. So yeah, it was funny. And so going up was difficult because it's difficult to walk in the snow when you are not wearing the thing you wear when you walk in the snow. I don't know how you call them in English. But going down was super funny because we could just sit on our backpacks and just go down the slope. So yeah, it was funny. But I have some footage of the climbing, but not much because it was a very hilly part, so I couldn't really set the camera anywhere. Yeah, I'm probably just gonna show that. I think I'm falling in one footage, so if you want to, it's a super tiny, cute fall, so it's not too scary to watch, so I can show you. But if you want to see what a fall looks like outside when lead climbing, there's that. I was on a 7A+, which is slightly overhanging, which is difficult to see in the video, but you can watch my hair and my tote bag and you can see they are kind of hanging like this behind me when my body is like this, that's where you can tell it's actually, I'm not standing on my feet, I'm hanging on my arms. So yeah, there's that. And yeah, I have this and maybe some footage of the walk to go up there, but not much. But yeah, that's what I have. And next episode will probably be when I come home from my holidays, so in 2 weeks, but 3 weeks. Yeah, next episode will be in 3 weeks. So there's that. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the support you always show, watching the video, leaving comments. I always appreciate each and every one of them. Thank you so much. And you can, of course, if you're not already, subscribe to not miss anything I put out in the future. I usually put episodes every 2 weeks. Not this time, but usually it's 2 weeks. And yeah, if you want to stay tuned for the test knits I'm doing, for the skirt, for the future design and everything, yeah, subscribe. And you can also give me a like, of course. I also appreciate them a lot. Thank you so much. Yeah, so I'm gonna go now, and I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you have time to knit on the things you love, and see you in the next one. Bye!
Ah!